I'm Mick Raich. I'm the CEO of Vachette Pathology and Stark Medical Auditing. And I'm here to chat with you today about some of the changes we see taking place. There's some big stuff coming, and there's some big stuff that's happened. So let's jump into this. First, most health systems have to be very aware of the rules that starts January 1st of transparency. What's going to happen then is they have to publicly disclose their pricing for shoppable services, including lab services, by the way. And penalties could be up to $100,000 annually. Now, one of the things going on here is that the current administration wants healthcare to be more accessible, and then want it to be more commercially comparable, apples versus apples. And by putting your knee surgery on the web, everyone will know what that is, and they'll be able to compare that. Now, the downside here is that the penalty is only $100,000. So if I'm a big health system and I'm making, I'm billing out $194 million a month, and I got a 2% margin on that, $100,000 for penalties for not doing this isn't really much of a stick, and there's no carrot. So I'm not sure we'll see a lot of compliance with that. Second, let's talk about a couple of United Healthcare things we see taking place, and then we'll jump into an Anthem thing also. One of the things we see with United Healthcare is that they've made some big changes in their G0416 code, which is for prostate biopsies, and this means that as of January 1st, if you do prostate biopsies, you cannot use an 88305 for that. So if you're an independent lab, or you're a pathology group, or even if you're a urology group that bills for this type of work, be aware that that code is gone. The 88305 is gone as of January 1st for prostate biopsies. Again, all these can be seen in further detail. If you go to our website, we have articles and details on this kind of stuff. Next, the next issue we see is Anthem, and there's some interesting changes in Anthem too. Anthem paid $40 million last week to settle a 2015 cyber attack. Interesting. We're seeing a lot of cyber attacks. We've seen some of our health systems we work with have big issues with this. And one of the things we're seeing in the cyber world is that a lot of providers, if they outsource their billing, are asking the billers to have $10 million of cyber coverage. And that's a lot of money. Some insurance companies can't do that in one time. I know a couple billers that have 2 or 3 different insurance coverages to cover this $10 million. And I know some billers that just can't do it. And so they're seeing themselves go out of business and seeing themselves change. So it's not pretty, but the whole cyber world, the cyber warfare world against providers and against data is continuing, and it's going to continue to be ugly. A couple other things. December 11th will be the next time the government has to look at its funding. The government looked at funding. The House passed a bill to pass funding up until December 11th. And there was one thing in there, I think the Senate's waiting to pass this, but there was a couple things in there in this last bill to fund the government, and it talked about extending the deadline for the Medicare advance payment. So if you got the Medicare advance payment, they're looking to push that out a little bit longer. So we should have an update on that on our website here in the next week or so, that, hey, the House passed this, the Senate passed this, we now funded the government for the next month and a half, and maybe Medicare advance payback will take a little bit longer. It's interesting that, now every 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks we have to sit down as a country and decide if we're going to fund things going forward. Interesting area that we're at right now. The last thing I want to talk to you about is change, and how changes are taking place and what's going on. How's COVID changed the world? It's changed a lot of providers and how they do stuff. Most of the providers I know now have to work longer hours to make the same amount of money. They have to be open. They have to space out their patients. Their overhead is going up, and that's scary. And one of the things I see that's going to take place is as inflation takes place, because we printed $4 trillion, the cost of services, billing, the cost of PPE, is going to go up. Rent's going to go up. But providers a lot of them have a fixed income. They can't pass that on to a consumer. Take the example of the service station where I have my tires worked on. yeah, their cost of tires are going up, their cost of electricity is going up, their labor costs are going up, but they can pass that on to me by saying, hey, it costs us more to put a tire on your car now, so we're going to have to charge you more. Well, in healthcare, a lot of people are in a fixed position where they can't charge more. They can charge all they want, but they're only going to pay a fixed amount for Medicare and Medicaid, many of their commercial plans. So I see inflation coming up, and it's going to hit a point where it's really going to be difficult for a lot of providers because they can't pass that on, and we're going to see smaller margins, which I think will lead to more mergers and acquisitions in the next couple of years as all the COVID issues play out. And we see that going forward. Another thing that's changed with with COVID is online stuff. I mean, movie theaters are gone basically. It's interesting. I play hockey, and they've welded the shower doors shut at the hockey rink because you can't shower after hockey because soap and water is bad for germs, I guess, or we're too close to each other. I don't know. I can't follow all the rules, but I see that this kind of stuff taking place in healthcare. Whereas, are all CMEs going to be online now? Are we done with trade shows? Are we done with CAP? Are we done with the Executive War College and G2 and NILA and all these the trade shows that you might go to for your specialty? Is RMBA gone? Are we done with these shows? We very well could be. It could be the point we reach that point where things are closed off and we're not going to see it come back, especially if it was barely marginally profitable at all. Well, those are some of the changes we're seeing. Do me a favor, go to our website, take a look at what we're doing. Take a look at, if you have questions, there'll be a link here. Send us an email, give us a phone call, give us a chat. We're doing a lot of auditing of COVID-19 billing now, and we're starting to see some very interesting things. So give us a call on that if you're doing COVID or you're thinking about doing COVID or even a respiratory panel going forward. You add that to your practice. We can help you out with revenue projections on that. Again, I'm Mick Raich. I'm the CEO of Vachette and Stark Medical Auditing, and I'd love to chat with you personally. So take care.